Okay, here we go. So I'm going to use the chair today quite a bit. But I want you to know that you need another point of contact, either a pole, a counter, a wall, or a chair. Okay? So I'm going to do some moves that we're going to start warming up with that, in fact, we're going to use, and we're starting to use our core right now. Let me tell you, if you ever wondered whether or not this move right here, use your core, well, go break a rib. If you break a rib and you do this move, you're going to know very quickly how much you're using your core to do this simple move. And you see what I'm doing right now in a way of warming up is a precursor to what we're going to do with some weights in just a second. But I want you to really know that when you move this leg up, and especially I'm crossing right now. See how I'm crossing? Because in fact, I'm warming you up for some very important lifts that we're going to do in just a second. So tighten in your tummy. Every time your knee comes up, your shoulders should go down. Your rib cage is up. And if you, again, ever wondered, well, why is she doing so many of these things? Why is she doing that? You know, that's no big deal. Listen, you get a back issue, you pull your back out or whatever that we do when we hurt our back, or break a rib. It will tell you so loudly that this move is really engaging your core, okay? And see, when I put my foot down, some of you are not thinking at all about anything except, oh, okay, lift my knee. Oh, okay, put the bar from one side to the other. You're not thinking about how your foot is addressing the ground. So what I want you to do right now is we're doing a slight shift as we lift our knee, but my foot is totally on all four corners of your foot. So front, side to side, and back side to side. That's what I'm talking about. Four corners, okay? Some of you are doing this move, and you're repeatedly doing this move, and you are rolling your foot to the outside edge, or you're doing some other kind of a foot function that is not helping you any, okay? So when I come here, see, I'm putting that foot down, all four corners, okay? I'm not rolling from my toe. I'm not going into my heel. And especially I'm avoiding rolling excessively to the outside, okay? Take a breath, okay? See how I just keep going side to side? And here's the deal. Every single time the knee starts to come up, drop your shoulders, take a breath, and say rib cage up. That is really going to warm your core up. You don't realize it unless you, like I said, have strained or broken a rib. Boy, it will get your attention because all those muscles in the core, which is the ribs are part of, will really let you know this. Okay, I see a good class coming on. Yeah, we're recording this, y'all. So this is going to be core work. Core work, seated or standing. So see, when I sit down in the chair in just a second, I'm going to do some of the moves seated, but you can choose to do them standing. It's up to you. And of course, if you're standing, you're going to be much more functional. So whenever therapists or trainers say that, what their meaning is, you were designed to function on your feet, not on your butt. You should be laughing right now. Well, what happened to America is we started functioning on our butt. That's why we started running into all kinds of problems. Okay? So you can choose today if you want to, and there's sometimes when you are going to be seated or you have to be seated. Okay? But you can work your core and you don't even know it. All right. So we've done repeated crossing midline, pushing the shoulders down, knee lifting, right? Let's do the reverse. Here's my bar right in front. I'm going to do like this and act like you're just wiping your shoe off, okay? See? Just act like you're wiping your shoe off. You got mud on it or whatever. When you wipe it, I want you to bring that heel right on into your butt, okay? So the arms are down here with my bar, and as I bring the heel to my butt, I want to, this is very important, I want to say rib cage up, okay? So dropping down, I'm going to wipe the mud off my foot. I'm going to go rib cage up, and I'm bring my heel to my hip. Then when I put it down, I'm not going to lock the the knee. I'm not going to lock it. I'm going to keep it soft because I have to shift and I have to wipe the other foot. Now, as I'm doing what you think is a very simple move, I have to keep prepping my postural positioning. So what do I mean by that? The minute you start to strike your foot, many of you are going to excessively arch your back, okay? So, shoulders down, rib cage up, and bring that heel to the hip, and then bring it down. Don't do this too fast. It's a continuum, see? So here I'm shifting, knee is bent, rib cage up, pull. Here I am going wide, shift, drop my shoulders, strike or wipe my shoe, bring that heel to the hip. Some of you that have delicate hamstrings need to either put your hand on a desk or on a pole or both, or if you have a delicate back, because you're going to start excessively leaning in like this. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to keep staying rib cage up, right here, heel to hip. Rib cage up, heel to hip. The more your knee goes back, the harder or the more intense the move is going to become on your hamstrings, okay? Now, this is a very good move to get your gluteals on board, but only if you're choosing to think about what you're doing. See, I put my hand here, and I put my pole in the other hand. Or you can put your hand on a wall or a table and do this move. And we're trying to do as many on this move as we did to begin with, okay? And when you bring that heel in, the tighter in you bring it, the more that hamstring is going to work, okay? So don't be surprised if you bring it in a little too tight. It may cramp a little. That just means you need to back off a bit. Let it stretch out. But get used to working that hamstring in this kind of a way. Now, I'm going to do 2 more on each side, okay? And every time I do this, I bring that knee back. I bring that heel into the hip. I bring it right on in. I keep reminding myself to say rib cage up. Now, to cap this one off, I'm going to do repeated lifts back with the heel leading, but don't bend your knee. That's very important because see, we already did the knee bending thing, right? So now stabilize yourself with your pole, your chair, a desk, a wall, and just lift and squeeze your butt. Turn that butt on, okay? Right there. Right there. So a lot of people, and I've gone over this before, but I will say it again, are walking around and they haven't even innervated or used the gluteal muscles. Okay, well, the gluteal muscles is some of the biggest muscles in your whole body. You better get them on board. Okay, so tight tummy, shoulders down. Biggest deal. Tight tummy, shoulders down, and then squeeze your butt. Squeeze your butt. Do not bend your knee here. Yeah, the heel is raising, and I'm keeping it going back, back, back. So this is be one of my moves of choice for somebody struggling with hamstrings. The name Kathy comes to mind. Sorry. So I hope you're being able to do this one, Kathy. So you can do this really up there, or you can go just a little. So it's employing that whole musculature. And it's a management issue. Once you've got an injury, a significant muscle pull, muscle strain, whatever you got going, you're going to need to learn to manage it. Okay? So now I've done the forward cross. I've done really stimulated the back muscles, the gluteal muscles, my shoulder muscles. Now I'm going to take my bar, go from side to side, side to side. I'm going to keep my shoulders well under my armpit. I hope you're catching that. So now I am for sure going side to side. And what am I doing? I'm just lifting my foot. I'm not bending at the knee. I'm not even, maybe my ankle is where my toe is pulled up. Okay? Because now I'm starting to usher you into our weight training session for today. You notice I'm not lifting my leg. All I'm doing is lifting my toe, and it releases from the floor. My knee is soft, and I'm really getting my hip, my knee, my back into a awareness state that, oh my goodness, this old gal is making me work. See? Starting to feel it. Yeah. But see, I didn't do this until we had done those really important warm-ups. Okay? So all I'm doing is keeping my knees soft. I'm keeping my hands under my armpit. I'm letting go of my toe. But my leg is pretty straight. Okay? Building up quite a bit of tension through the hips, right? That's what we want. Yes. I thought of this all night last night. I thought, how can I really make my little slug scream out there? Some of you got my email, I'm sure, or you wouldn't be on here this morning. Good to see everybody. Just remember, if somebody wants to be included on the Zoom class, the live class, all I got to do is have an email. I'll put it in the system. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and have a sit down. Okay, so I'm going to sit down right here. I am going to start using my weights a lot. So have your weights where you can get them quickly. Okay, but we're going to use body weight to start with. All right, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we're going to do. So I got my bar. I'm sitting down. Now, you can sit or you can stand. But if you stand, let me warn you, you're going to want to move your hips in this move, okay? So try not to, all right? You're moving from the belly button up. You're doing an upper transverse or turning rotation, okay? Now, let me tell you something. I got you warmed up in your core in order to start doing this kind of a move. Look at my feet. See my knees? They're not moving. My hips are not moving. The upper body is moving. I'm turning that stick. And if you had a tea towel, you could use a tea towel. But here's the deal. I'm staying forward with my head right now, okay? But I'm rotating back and forth, all right? Now, think about this. We're going to do this with weight in just a minute, okay? So stay with me and get this down. So I just keep these hips pretty still. There's very little movement because I'm sitting. Now, if I was standing, stay right where you're at, unless you want to stand, it would look like this. See, these aren't moving. See, that's the whole thing that you got to really start knowing when I'm doing some of these moves. Typically, whenever somebody sees somebody do this move, what do? We do this, and we do this. That's not what we're doing. So, shoulders down. If you're going to stand, stay put with your hips. Turn, turn. And again, if you think for a second, oh, why does she keep spending time on these kinds of things? They're not doing anything. Oh my goodness. Break yourself a rib and you will see how interconnected what we're doing right now is into creating a strong, malleable core, okay? Being able to function and not be all stiff, all right? And some of this stuff takes a while to do, all right? That's why you come on with me, because you just are like, okay, what's next? And you can't remember. But see, this stuff is running in my head all the time. Okay, see the bar, right? So I'm going to go right here. So let's say you're somebody with a shoulder problem, okay? Now I'm sitting. If you don't want to sit, you don't have to sit. You can do this whole move without sitting, all right? It's going to be harder, but I'm sitting. Ready? I'm going to bring my leg up. Bring my leg up. Right now, I want you to really be zoning in on what you're doing, because the minute I did this and I did this, I will guarantee you some of you rounded your lower back. You did. And see, you'll say, oh, no, I didn't. I'll say, are you just a plain slug today or are you a super slug today? And you would say, well, maybe I did. And then I would say, oh, okay, you're a super slug. Now, here's what we're going to do that's different. We're going to do this. We're going to not round our back. And when we come to here, we're going to take this leg and go out just for a second and then come back in. We are starting super core work. So you've got to be circumspect about how you're holding your posture, okay? So now I'm going to go to the other side. What am I going to do? I'm going to come right here. See this? In this position, is your elbow out or is it down? And some of you may say, well, why does she keep asking me that? I'm asking Kay. Is your elbow down, Kay? See? I don't want it out like this because that means I'm hunched over. I don't want to be hunched over. My shoulders are down. My arm is right here. I'm going to rotate and I'm going to bring this knee up. And I'm going to come right to here. My shoulders down and then I'm going to go out. And I'm going to come back in and down. See that? So when you need to move through your trunk, you're going to go forward and back from your hip hinge. Not rounding your back. Switch. Here we go. So we can just put this hand right here. This hand is right here. Ask yourself, go ahead, look at your elbow. Some of you are doing this. I know you are. Okay, do this. Ready? Shoulders are down. I'm going to rotate. I'm going to bring the knee up, and then I'm going to go out with it. Okay? You see how I rotated back through the hip hinge? If you don't do that, I will guarantee you will round your back. Okay? So here we go. Up, keep my elbow down, rotate, bring the knee up, and punch it out. See that? Keep your shoulders down, come back, and come back. Okay? So we're starting to build core strength right now, especially if you don't round your back, okay? Breath, here we go. Rotate down. Now lift. If you need to go somewhere to get that leg up, what are you gonna do? You're gonna rotate back until you feel this kick in. Then you go out and you come down and you come back. Now, lest you think I'm spending too much time, see, on this little part of the program, pretend that you have about a 6-pound weight in your hand, okay? 6 to 8, whatever, maybe 4, even 4. Think about that. Now, I just want you to practice. Make sure you're not rounding your back. Here we go. Rotate. And here we go. See that? And then we come back. And we don't just kick it out real quick. We hold it out there, hopefully until it starts to shake a little bit. All right. So we've got that one. So we have the rotation. Then we had the flexion, extension with the elbow down. Watch this one now. Pretend this is a weight. Okay. My butt's on the chair, but you could do this whole thing standing if you want to make it a little more advanced. Watch this. See this? I'm going down with the idea of don't think about how far your hand's going here. Think about if your armpit gets a little closer to your hip bone. That's what I want. So we're going to go down. We can keep this hand here, or we can put it here. So we go there and we pull our tummy in and bring us the back, okay? We keep our shoulders down, our chin is tucked, the same postural, good neutral positioning. Now think about taking your armpit and trying to get it close to your hip bone right here. See that? That takes a real specific muscle to get you in this position. And it's one that people ignore. And when they do this move, especially if they're standing, and a lot of times I see this done standing. Keep going. They do this. They do this. See? I see this all the time. That's not what we're doing. And when you're sitting, it's easier to keep your hips still. But when you're standing, you can still keep them still. So shoulders down, soften your knees. You're going to bring the armpit to you're just trying to make it a shorter distance. See this? This is a little move. This is not this huge gargantuan move that just is going to create some problems. Okay? Go to the other side. All right? Drop your shoulders. I'm doing this standing, but I'm going to sit down. See, I'm going to bring my armpit closer to my hip bone. See that? And when you do this correctly, it will tell you where you need to stop. You'll either do that and listen to your body, or you're going to shove your hip out here and do all kinds of weird things that's going to stress your joint. It's going to stress your back. I'm trying to get you to do something that's going to help strengthen a very important component in your core. And it's surprising to people how little correct moving works. Okay? So just hang with me, all right, on this whole issue. Take a big deep breath. 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 Now let me ask you a question. I'm standing. When you're standing and doing this, you need to keep your butt tight. Okay, just engaged. Soften your knees and engage. Now I'm going to sit. Some of you are sitting, which is good. It's where I have to start some people who cannot get a grip on how their movement is not where it should be. I have to sit them down because they keep moving their hip in order to do this move. Okay, and if you already have a wonky hip or a wonky back, okay, as in the Wonky Donkey, Kay's favorite book. Here comes Mac. He's going to come watch. I hope they don't bark. Okay, see how I'm doing this? So I'm not leaning. See, I'm not leaning. I'm taking my armpit to my hip and back. And if you've ever really screwed up your back, some of these moves are going to be really hard to do. I'm trying to show you how to do it correctly. And then I'm going to put weight on this whole workout. Because when you start adding weight, you do that when you're not hurt and when you're pretty good, and then you use whatever weight you think you're capable of doing. Then let's say I have the weight. Now we're moving to the fourth move, okay? See, I have a weight right here. This is my weight, all right? So I'm going to come like this. I'm sitting just like this, and I'm going to move back like this and come up. And then I'm going to move back and come up. So I have this weight, which is what we're going to do in just a second. But here's the deal. If I'm standing and doing this move, and I went over this move very succinctly, I think it was, I can't remember which one it was, it's when you're gardening. When I do this move, see, I'm turning, but I am not turning while I'm bringing the weight down, okay? I push my butt back first, then I do that cross chop, and I'm going backwards. I'm not going forward chopping, I'm going this way. See that? That's a very different move, okay? So pretend you got a weight. You're going to hip hinge. I'm saying if you're standing and you're doing this. See, I give you guys choices. See, this is not a dictatorship. I give you choices. You can do this standing up or sitting down, but you will do this, right? That's a choice. It's kind of like my mother used to give us choices on what we had to eat. She said, I have oatmeal. You can eat it standing up or sitting down, whichever you like. None of this 15 different things to choose from in food. No, I have oatmeal. But you can choose to eat it standing up or sitting down. Okay, take a big breath right here. Now I'm going to start with weights, okay? So whenever I come up, I'm going to push into my heels now. Here comes the heel push, and I'm up, okay? And pretend this is a weight. All right, so I'm going to put my little bar here because, in fact, I can do this whole move, this whole workout for my core, sitting or standing, and I'll do one of both for those of you who need to have a visual, okay? You get to choose. So I'm going to put my weight clothes on. And for anybody coming on here and they haven't worked out with me before, and somebody might be saying, oh, she's just using these little weights. She doesn't need to use. Listen, even if you're holding this bar and you have arthritis in your hands, or you have any other issues with your hands, this gives your hands support and it keeps them warm, as well as it helps your gripping. Okay, it helps your gripping. Nancy wants to know when I pick up a weight, well, what are you picking up? So for me personally, on these 4 moves that I'm going to do, is I have a 9-pound and a 9-pound, okay? Because I have these, Pro Bells that you can change the weights on. If it gets too heavy, I'll just change it, and I'll go lighter or heavier, whatever, all right? So big deep breath. I'm going to bring my weights in right here, okay? I'm starting this standing, but any of you could do this sitting down. You could do this right here. See how I'm going to turn? I'm going to turn. That was one of our first moves, correct? So take a breath. Your shoulders are down. Pick. You can stand for part of it and sit for part of it. It's up to you. But you're going to have these weights right here, kind of like you're hanging on to it. And if you don't want 2, then do just 1. See, that's perfectly fine. You can do this. If that's easier for you to do, that is perfectly fine. I just want to hold it both in my hands because I want a little heavier. Okay, that's just me. Because I can do it. all right? But if you need to go a little with both of them, that's fine. Okay, so they're right here, as close as they can to me. I'm going to turn, and I'm going to turn, and I'm going to turn. See, I'm sitting, but I could do this standing. But what am I going to not do? I'm not going to move my hips way back. They have very little movement. Okay, now you're gonna want to start bringing your shoulders up. Don't do that. Drop your shoulders. If you need to stop and rest, pick up a lighter weight, do it, but don't start hunching. Okay, now I'm going to finish this move standing. You can finish it sitting. It's up to you. So I'm going to go into that squat stance. It's right here. I'm on all four corners of my feet right now. But as I'm turning from the belly button up, see, I'm keeping my tummy tight. I'm keeping my elbows in, my shoulders down, and I'm on all four corners of my feet. I am not displacing my hips in order to make this turning move. Okay? I'm keeping my hips pretty still from the belly button down. Okay? Very little motion. Drop your shoulders, take a breath, drop your shoulders, take a breath, drop your shoulders, take a breath, stay on all four corners of your feet. So I'm doing this turning action, and I'm controlling it with my core, and this is 18 pounds, okay? So drop your shoulders, keep the weights close to you. I've got two more. Breath, 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 breath. So it's 1 and 2 and, just so you know. Okay, take a breath, put those weights down. Now I'm gonna go ahead and sit while I regroup here, okay? So I'm gonna take these weights and I'm gonna sit on this one, but I'll stand for those of you who are gonna try this standing, because there's a couple of you that might wanna do that, because you can, and that's good. I'll get you started, but most of you need to just sit, okay? This is core work, but it's also pulling in because I've added weights, shoulders, arms, you know, legs, okay? So most of you who are sitting, you're going to take one weight, okay? You can keep this here, or you can hold it to the side. The elbow is down. I'm going to rotate just like that, and I'm going to bring that knee up, and I'm going to extend it, and then I'm going to rotate and come back, and I'm going to do it again. And it works very well when you're seated, because then it quiets your hips. Okay, drop your shoulders. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to do it standing. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like standing before I go to the other side. Rotate. Keep going. Keep going. Those of you who are sitting. But if I was doing this standing, it would be much more difficult. You come down, you bring that knee up, you extend it, you come down, you have to hold balance. So if I were going to do this standing because I wanted the intensity, I would put my shoulders against the wall. I would back up to a wall, and I would do this, and I would still get intensity, but I wouldn't have to fight with the balance thing. Okay, see that? That's how you would do it. Back up your shoulders to the wall and try that. If you have a significant weight and you're standing, put your shoulder blades on the wall, okay? Now I'm going to switch. So I'm going to go to this hand. Again, this hand can be here or here. I like to put it down here because that helps me really load through my spine and my shoulders. So it's going to be right here. First of all, notice where your elbow is, okay? Because when I rotate, see, I want it to go back a bit, and I come back in, it's facing down. This is right here, and I'm staying level. So I'm going to rotate as if I was going to go over to this knee, and then I'm going to extend and bring it down. Rotate back up. Take a breath, shoulders down. If this is too heavy, do not hesitate to go pick up a lighter weight. This move works tremendously for shoulders, core. But if it's too heavy, you're going to make weird compensatory moves. Okay? So here I go. Check and see if you're getting that nice rotation. Then you're going to bring the opposite leg like you're going to touch it, and then extend it and bring it down. Rotate it back. Take a breath. Drop your shoulders. Rotate across midline. Bring her back. Take a breath. Shoulders down. Rotate. Bring it over to the opposite leg and bring it back down. Okay, one more. Rotate to the leg and come back. Put those weights down. Okay, just put them right down in front of you. So if you picked a heavier weight, you need to give yourself breaks for your hands to get some blood in there and to not get numb from holding it too long. Okay, dokie. Take a big deep breath. Yes, yes, yes. Now we're going to bring these weights right to the side. So we're getting right through those moves. And what am I going to do? I am going to just let my armpit try to go where? To the hip. No further. So I'm going to do about 3 or 4 because I don't want to do it all on one side too much. Go down and pull your tummy in as you're doing this. Okay, so you're sitting here. You can do this standing. You drop your shoulders, pull that chin in so that you're not doing this way out here like this. Okay, you got it? Rib cage up. Now I'm going to go the other side. I'm going to do about 4 each. So I'm going to take my armpit and I'm going to try to get it closer to my hip bone. Then I'm going to bring it back. And when you bring it back, you got to be pulling your belly button in. And for those of you who have had periods of back injury, this is a huge move. I can't even tell you. To do this correctly will help you not get into that situation. Okay? Now I'm going to do the other side. One more set. But I'm going to do the other side standing. You don't have to. You can do it all sitting. Okay? So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to come up. I'm going to do the same move. So my knees are soft. My shoulders are down. My chin is tucked. And I say rib cage up as I let my armpit close the spacing gap between the armpit and the hip bone. And to come back up, I have to contract those core muscles. Yes. And the move responsible for getting us, the muscles responsible for getting us down and then back up is very deep, okay? And it's a little smaller muscle. That's why it's injured so many times. People haven't used it properly. Okay, now I'm going to go to the other side. Are you ready? Drop your shoulders, all 4 corners of your feet. Knees are soft, okay? My chin is tucked, and I'm just going to let that armpit try to go down to that hip bone and then pull back in with a tight tummy. See, I'm dropping, bringing it back. I'm dropping, bringing it back. Dropping. It's a little move, y'all. Don't be amazed because this is working your core. Woo! Breath. Breath. Okay? Now I'm going to take my weights and I'm going to take one weight. I'm going to put the other one in front. So I just did that. So you can do this sitting. Just put one weight in front because I do want you to act like you're chopping. Okay? See this? It's hard to do with 2 weights. So I'm still shoulder width on my stance. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to go back as if I'm rowing a boat. See this? So if I were with you right now doing this move, I would be really interested to know where you're feeling pressure in your feet. Should be as you're coming down, it should be in the heels. And if you notice, I don't start turning and doing that rowing action until I get down. See that? I'm set. Now I can take this and do that rowing and benefit with my core instead of hurting my back. Don't twist as you're doing the move, especially if you have a weight. So here I go. Breath, push back, roll back. Bring it right here. Push back, roll back. Okay, shoulders down. So I'm doing the first part, standing, but you could be doing this sitting. Every bit of it. Push back. Breath, push back. Breath, push back. Breath, push back. Breath, push back. Breath. One more. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to do the second part with some of you who are sitting. So you can continue with standing or you can sit. And again, let me explain. Some people, I have to actually sit them down in order for them to get the connection between how to move because they keep pushing their hips out. This is about from the belly button up. Okay, so here I am, right here. So I'm going to go pull, push it right in here, pull. So when I do this sitting, I go forward first. Get in position, tighten in your belly button, push into your feet. Then you go to the side and you bring it back. Then you go to the side. See, I do all of that first. But if I hadn't stopped and went through it like 1, set, 2, 3. See, it's actually a 3-part move. Some of you are starting right here and you're doing like this as you're going down. That would be incorrect. All right, so here I go. Forward, shove back. Just like you're doing a kayak or rowing or something. Yeah, and you'll have to move your legs out of the way. And you can even try this, which is fine if you want to do that. Okay, I'm trying to get you to turn a little, not a lot, just a little. Boom, breath, boom, breath, boom, breath. Yeah. One more. So I did 2 sets of these, you know, somewhere around 8, 9, 10. You get to choose 8, 9, 10, maybe 6. That'd be fine too. Okay, so now I have 9-pound weights, right? Could be considered heavy for some people, right? Could be light for some people. Okay, this is incredibly light for somebody like my son, my wild child. Oh my goodness. One time we were in Home Depot and we had to get a toilet. And the guy was bringing a cart, and instead of waiting, he just picks up the toilet and takes off with it. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Those are heavy. Okay, bring the weights up. You're wondering why I tell you that story? I was letting you rest. Okay, Kathy, I was letting everybody rest. Okay, looky here. See this? So this is about core today. This is about core, whether you stand up or sit down, whether you use a weight or whether you use your body weight. We've done some essential moves for that core. This is going to continue it, but a little heavier, a little harder, okay? So I'm right here. I'm going to keep these right on my shoulders. See my elbows? Take a breath. I'm going to go back, open my hip until I feel my stomach really kick in. See, it's a backward opening at the hip and then pull back up. So it's a sit back is what it is. Breath. But I am managing 18 plus pounds. The plus is my upper body weight, my head, my shoulders, okay? Open back. You're going to feel it in the tummy. Take a breath. This is where it's very, 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 very important to keep your rib cage lifted. No rounding of the back here. Look at my elbows. They're not flared back. They're hanging out here. Yeah. This is giving them endurance. So you can do that paint job, or you can do pickleball, or you can do some kayaking, okay? This is pushing your whole upper body, core, shoulders, arms, everything. Take a breath. Here we go. Back, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now hang on with me. Hang on with me. Go back one more time. Right there. Now just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come back in. Come back down. I can hear it now. You've loved that one. Who would ever know that it would be that hard? Okay. Take a breath. Yes. Now put those weights right beside you, just like that, and just pull back. Okay? So we have a pretty good weight in our hands, correct? Again, there are those of you out there that would like to be the chair. So instead of sitting and doing this lat pull, which involves core, your lats, your shoulders, you want to stand perfectly fine. It's going to look like this. See this? That's what it's going to look like. If you want to be your own chair. Okay? But you can do a great job with your back, your shoulders, your core, sitting down, which will be fine. I'm doing one set standing, and I'll do one set sitting. Breath, 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 breath. 3 more, 2 more, 1 more. Okay, now I'm going to sit. I'm coming down, and I'm sitting. Hang with me. So what I'm doing is I'm capitalizing on doing some kind of non-traditional moves to attack core strength and shoulder strength. Many of you suffer from shoulder issues. And if you will attack that weakness a little differently so you don't re-injure, that's what's required, okay? So this kind of a pull, so you see I let you rest again. I hope you noticed that. See, I'm going to hip hinge forward, keep my chin tucked, keep it very extended back, pull. See that? And I have a pretty good weight here. 9 pounds on each hand. Okay? Here we go. Pull. Keep it chin tucked. When you bring it in, just say 1001. Otherwise, you get into kind of a swinging action, which I want you to really engage. So you just say 1001, bring her down. 1001, bring her down. Or you could count this way. Kathy would say, Jeannie, if you'd count, you wouldn't get so mixed up. I understand. But see, I have you to count. Breath, breath, keep your chin tucked. Keep your rib cage up, shoulders down. Here we go, pull. The shoulder blade should be squeezing right there, that 1001. Shoulder blade should be squeezing. Breath, squeezing. Breath, breath, go. Breath, go. Breath, 1 more. Okay. Woo! Bring your hands right here. Just touch the tops of your ears. See, if you just try to touch the tops of your ears and you don't try to overextend here. Keep your chin tucked. Touch the tops of your ears. Open those shoulders. Open the pecs right here. Open the front part, okay? And pull. Pull the elbows back. Keeping your fingertips right here on your ears. Now bring them down. And swing and swing and swing and swing. So we really emphasized a lot of upper body, a lot of core. Now we're going to bring it right down to and we're going to push through the legs, okay? So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to take my weights, and I'm going to rack them, because I'm going to pick up a little heavier, okay? One more heavier. So I'm going to go to a 12 pound on both sides. You can do one weight if you want to. I'm just choosing to do two, all right? So you can do this a lot of different ways, but I'm going to pick up and I'm going to pick up. So with a heavier weight, I want to work on the fronts of my arms and the backs of my arms. And many of you would say, oh, well, it's just because you want, you know, your muscle not to be, you know, not looking like it's flabby. Well, yeah, that's number one. And I mean, that's number two. You know what the number one reason is? Whenever I can do simple, controlled lifts with a bicep and a tricep, I'm going to have far less shoulder and back problems because my arms are going to be stronger. Now, is it nice if you can do the sitting again? See, here's one that you can do sitting. You're right here. You just come like this and down, and this and down. See that? One at a time. See that? And I'm hip hinging. But if you're standing, same thing. You just do a little hip hinge. See? It's like this. Duh. And this is a heavier weight. And every time you come up here, if you have a heavier weight, check your elbow. See, I want to be headed down with my elbow. I don't want it flaring. That will hurt your shoulder. Drop your shoulders, hip hinge, pull, right there. So, as I was saying, until that thought rudely interrupted me, I have a lot of that. So a plus, if you keep your arms strong, and if you don't sacrifice a shoulder joint trying to really push your weight, a plus is that when you do wave, it won't hit you in the face, see, when you're waving. So that's just a plus. That's not the big reason I do it. But hey, we'll take that, right? Kay says, you better believe it. Take a breath. Take a breath. I think that was Nancy. She said, yes, that's what I want. Here we go. Now I'm going to be right here. I already started this, and I can sit. I can sit and do this whole thing. These are heavy. These are 12s each hand. So if I come here and I just go back like that, I can do one and then the other, one and then the other. But now I'm going to put it into those legs. So I would prefer you stand to do it, but you don't have to stand to do it. Okay, so now I'm going to do my split stance, and I'm going to bend that knee. Okay, so get in your stance right here. I'm going to drop the back knee. I'm going to come right in. I'm going to keep this knee in front in line with my ankle. Some of you go way out too far. So adjust whatever you need to so that when you drop your knee, it doesn't shove this knee out over the knee. All right. So anytime you do a split stance like we're doing, and you do a task using 12 pounds, you're going to feel it. Okay. So you get to pick whatever heavy is for you. But I wanted to start you in a standing position. And here's where I don't want to over-rotate through the core. So I'm just coming down with the knee, pulling. And then whenever I've done as much as I can here, I'm going to push back and squeeze that back muscle of the arm. The back arm muscle right there. And you're just going to keep that knee going down. You're staying in this split stance that requires every bit of your core. You have to really be thinking, keep your shoulders dropped, big breath, push it back, squeeze that arm muscle, just two more, just two more, just two more, one more, and then step forward, take a big breath, shoulders up, shoulders down, squeeze your butt. I know, you were just letting your rear end just kind of fly out there in the breeze. Don't do that. Pull it in. Those are big muscles. Use them. When you bring your shoulders up, you squeeze that butt. And then you bring it back down. Release. Bring the shoulders up. Squeeze. Bring them down. Release. Bring them up. Squeeze that butt. And come down. I'm trying to get you to figure out how it feels to engage the gluteals. They are very important to engage. Now, if you're saying to yourself, wait, does she know how long we're holding these things? I would say to you, yes. That's why I keep talking. I don't want you to think about it. Kind of, okay? So anytime you need to rest your hands, put the dang weight down. Put it in your chair. Do whatever you need to do, okay? That's just smart exercising. That's not like giving up. No, that's smart exercising. Take a break when you need to. So see, I'm letting these weights go to my fingertips. Then I pull them in. See that? So anytime I'm doing something with very heavy weight, I will do this kind of a work. So I'm not gripping it. And I'm using my forearm and my palm muscles. Okay, now we're ready. Are you ready? I'm going to take that back knee down. But if I bring the back knee down and I shove this out, I'm not wide enough. So I'll step a little wider, a little back. And I'll take a breath. And I'm going to come down with that knee. I'm going to go pull down. And I'm going to pull it. Take a breath. Take a breath. Pull. Take a breath. Don't drop that shoulder. This is about arms. This is about the back of the arm. The shoulder is your stability medium. Keep them level. Take a breath. So you're working the leg now with a pretty heavy weight. Breath. You're just bending that knee down. Pull. Take a breath. Two more. Woo! One more. Oh, and step in. Okay, I'm going to put these weights down. Okay, grab my little bar. This is where we started, right? So we did a lot of moving, didn't we? We started with transverse. Upper body transverse. Now I'm going to step wide. I'm going to bend my knee. Now I'm going to take it out of the upper body transverse because I'm trying to stretch you out before we leave. I'm going to turn, but now you're going to see me pivot. See, I pivoted my toe. Big difference. So I'm going to turn and pivot. And I'm going to bring those hands as far as I can behind me. See that pivot? I keep hitting my chair. Take a breath, pivot, and if you need to, if you're on carpet, you're not going to spin. So you have to pick your foot up, turn it, and then come back in. Pick the foot up, turn, pivot. Is your tummy in nice and tight? I know. That's called you were just being a slug. You had a moment that you were just a slug because you didn't, I caught you, didn't I? I know it. Just keep your tummy nice and tight as you're doing this. Take a big breath, and then you can just go front to back. And now you do the upper body. And it's a short, nice transverse move. Breath, 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 and breath. Now, if you took stock of how you're moving now versus where you were when you came in this morning, And if you worked through some of those very unusual moves that I did, I can tell you your core will thank you without hurting your back. Yay!